like the very same night, there was a giveaway happening. For someone from Germany had started this giveaway. So the first three people to be tagged in that will win the ticket. And surprisingly, oh my god, I was jumping around the whole night. Like genuinely very much motivated about my people with who are doing good things. Even if they're moving slow, so it was like a notification go and I was like, okay, that's really, I was so happy. Like getting a first internship that is your like one of your favorite startups, it's like really good. I was pretty confident, okay, maybe I'm gonna win that. I'm gonna upload it, and surprisingly, it also did well. It got some 10,000 views, I guess. So got like 500 USD, but that was like some for community and some for myself. For the first international solo trip, I really wanted to go to the event. It was Shiva event, and then when I reached, it ended.
Yes.
And I would say that make like friends that are maybe a little bit older than you, that have already maybe achieved a certain part that you want to achieve.
Hey, welcome back to the In Your 20s podcast, where you become smarter by listening to the smartest people in their 20s. I'm your host Aditya, and for today's episode, we have somebody special. She's probably one of the best fit for this entire podcast. She's none other than Preet Kaur, currently working mostly in the BD side, which is the business development side in Web3 crypto. In this episode, which begins with her first experience of solo traveling, moving towards getting a first full-time offer while still being in college, and then we talked about her personal journey into her first international work trip to Singapore, and a lot more in between, discussing and talking about how to grow in your 20s and how to start in your 20s, the do's and don'ts overall. And we ended up with her experiences of running a business, and this is probably the one of the wholesome episode that I've possibly had, and I really want that you see this entire episode. So yep, with that, please like, share and subscribe. And with that, the episode starts in 3, 2, 1. See ya. Bye bye. Hi, Preet. Thank you so much for joining in today. I know it's been like just a normal outreach message, and then we followed up, and then here we are. But yeah, apart from that, super excited to be hosting you today and talk a lot more about Web3, your journey. I know for you it's just short, but it is a good journey. And apart from that, traveling and maybe visiting to Singapore and all of this. So yeah, so excited for that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, Aditya. Thank you for reaching out. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank
That's great. Cool. So, I've already, so in the beginning, before beginning this entire episode, I've already given a short intro to the audience that about you. But I'm curious to ask this question that if you could condense your overall personality in just three adjectives or three words, what would that be? I think that would be super fun to start off.
Yeah, truly, I'm like a very confused person. But first is I'm very curious to learn and to explore. I am artistic. I also do like art side, and for me, I think learning every day. I love to read as well and explore many books, different people, and yeah, basically curious learner, explorer. That would be my personality. Even I'm exploring my personality. So
True. It's just a common thing in your 20s, right?
yeah, true, very true.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. So I think the point from where I want to take off this episode is probably going back in time and talking about the first instance that I had with your profile, which was this video that you had created at I think Solana ecosystem call, and you later on ended up winning that bounty.
Yeah,
Um, take us if you could take us through that that
yeah, sure.
experience, that
Yeah.
memory. How was, I think it was your first bounty that you
Yeah.
won. Uh,
No, previously I also did writing a Twitter thread bounty on the same project actually. So
okay,
I'll tell you from the start.
right,
Uh, basically, so this year, last year I went to a conference in Polygon and I started and I met people there and different. So initially my interest was very different that I want to go into like coding and become a developer and those kind of things because as 20s it's very basic to explore, and you start with somewhere else and then they end up doing something else. Maybe I don't know. It's the case for me. So I knew about tech and everything before even joining college, and I'm currently in my third year, halfway through completing my third year. So I was just exploring, and this year I got fully into Web3, and I started to attend events, conference. So I am based out of Ahmedabad right now. So am in the community of Ahmedabad Web3 community, and I am involved in with more people in Web3 and more communities. So it started with basically, so my brother honestly also played a crucial role in this. So he asked me if you want to participate in this interesting bounty since you're exploring and learning. So I'd say like, let's give it a try. I already knew about Superteam Earn and everything and how does it work. So I used to go to this event. So I really loved, so while I'm also creative, as I already told you. So Drip was a very creative project, and then also I explored the whole project. So you had to basically select one project and write a Twitter thread on that. So I selected that and wrote a thread on that. I was very well versed with the project, and then I won. It was around 25 USDC something, but it was like a win-win. Your first win is your win.
All
So
right.
that was it. I wasn't doing any job or something, any work with nothing. Like I was just starting. Then with the video thing, if I tell you, so I was so one of my after winning this bounty, I attended one more Web3 event, Solana community call, I guess. So the organizer of that community call, he asked me maybe if you want to give a talk about this project Drip. So I said okay, like I would love to explore, so I don't mind. So I didn't knew initially that it was a bounty program because it was, I think, first. Sorry, it was maybe first or second time it was hosted Solana, so box 7, maybe second time, I guess.
Right.
So I prepared, I was very interested. So I thought, let's genuinely give it. So I gave it and then uploaded. And surprisingly, it also did well. It got some 10,000 views, I guess.
Yep.
So that was one thing. And then eventually, I was pretty confident. Okay, maybe I'm gonna win that. So got like 500 USD, but that was like some for community and some for myself. So that was my good experience, and that also eventually kickstarted my journey in Web3 and working with a startup. I already worked with one of the startup for 3 months, and I'm currently working with CopperX. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. I think yeah, the I think the biggest challenge for the folks who are already in Web3 and know about Superteam Earn is that is that getting done with that first part, which is to research about that project
Yeah.
and curate it in a proper manner. And after that, that getting the views and stuff like that, the engagement thing, I think is just purely on how you, what's your
Um,
craft, right?
yeah,
And yeah, that's really cool, I guess.
yeah,
Awesome, awesome. Apart from that, since we are already talking about Web3 and events,
yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, so I found that you won your first this giveaway thing for JSConf India, right?
yeah.
And it was probably your first solo
Mm-hmm.
travel to Bangalore and everything, right? So take us through that moment, take us through that experience overall. I think
Yeah,
the audience would love to know about key. How did you manage? How did you explore new things, connect with more people, and
yeah.
stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited, honestly, to tell about that.
Yeah.
So again, last year, so I think it was around April and or May starting. So I knew about JSConf is happening. So at that day, I went to an event by Z in Ahmedabad, and they were people talking about that they're going to JSConf. And then I was thinking, like, maybe I wish I had this chance to go to this conference and everything. It was in June, and I was like, please God, maybe let's, I don't know how, but like I was just thinking, and that thought then like went away. Okay, it just was there for a day. And like the very same night there was a giveaway happening. So uh it was like someone from Germany had started this giveaway, so the first three people to be tagged in that will win the ticket. And my brother was scrolling through Twitter, and he just tweeted that the first three people will be there and who will be tagged will win. So my brother tagged me first. And surprisingly, oh my God, I was jumping around the whole night. It was the first experience. Obviously, I was excited that you
Right.
got this ticket and everything. And so I was very excited the whole night. And then proceedingly we booked the tickets for the flights and everything. And so the thing was that it was my first ever solo travel, that to going to Bangalore at 18 or 19. I know like many people does it, but it was still quite scary for me and how to navigate things and everything. So
Right.
I was like, what to do now? So I knew a few people, knew like they were at good they had good Twitter following and everything, and I knew one of them personally. So I reached out to him. Maybe can you please suggest me someone or someone I can go with from Ahmedabad. So there was like this. So then I also tell you. So it made helped me made like my lifelong friends, I can say. So
Mm.
so I tweeted him. Then he reposted. He had good followers. So he reposted, and then that tweet, it my first tweet to get ever viral. So I was around, I don't know, 300 followers or something, and it was my first tweet to get like, I'm not remembering ki kitna hai, so it's like 20K right now.
Yeah.
So, so many big people was commenting that you can stay here, you can go here. And then one of my friend Preeti, she's not working with Phi Data. It's a very nice startup, also very big thing. So she's also now one of my good friends. So she messaged that like, why don't we make a group or something? Let's do that. And then I found out like people are going from Ahmedabad. And then we formed a group of around 12 people, JSConf peeps. So so we then, like, it was pretty amazing. Then I landed my first time in Bangalore. I got a companion to be there, and she's also my good friend now. So we both went together to JSConf. I'm still getting goosebumps. It's very nostalgic to think of those times. See
Right.
how did this happen. So it was really fun, and now we are still friends. If you know Yash Segal, he's my really good friend, and Sumit, they are building Right Fit. Go
Yeah.
guys, Right Fit, yeah. So we are really good friends. We talk daily now. Also, if I want any suggestions, he and everything, we help each other. We grow. So they're like this. This was my like actual good friendship with like-minded people. I really do believe in all these things. That yeah. So this was my first journey. I was there in JSConf. It was a 1 day whole thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right. That's pretty wholesome, I would feel, I think, right?
Um,
And I think so if I have to relate with that, I started solo traveling this year. Not that
yeah.
much, just like two solo travels till now,
Mm-hmm.
and that too very short. One was about probably a week, and the another one was about 2 3 days. But yeah, I could connect with you in terms of solo traveling. You're just you, right? There's not a lot of people to guide you that, hey, do this, do this, do this. But you have to figure out for yourself and think about, okay, what will I do after this? Where will I go after this? And what will I eat after this? So
Yeah.
things like these are super interesting but super stressful at the same time. Uh,
Yeah. I'll just tell you one experience. So when I landed in Bangalore, my network went out and I had no SIM. I was just relying on my friend's phone was there. I would have like cried so much if I was completely alone there. And it was my first solo travel and my network is not working. It was, and then at the end of the day, while returning back from Bangalore, I figured out, oh my God, this is how you fix it. So yeah, but then it eventually worked on the last day. I don't know, but yeah, it was very scary if I would have been alone doing it alone.
True, true,
Yeah,
agree. Yeah, some of these like it's like not super intense moments, but it's these little moments which makes it so much intenseful at the same time.
yeah,
Like if I have to remember, I was so in the first solo travel, I was super excited, super nervous at the same time. And so I went out for attending an event, and then after that, the day had ended, and I had to book a hotel or something. And so my dad was actually telling, you were suggesting, just book here or go here or here. And I was in the train, local train, and going back to the place, and the phone was about to die, like literally 2 3%.
mhm,
So I could not even Google, I could not even look out on maps, I could not even contact with my dad. I was like super stressful at the same time. So I
yeah.
somehow managed to download that location, ask out people, and then ended up booking that hotel.
Mm,
But yeah, it's
true. Like you learn like this, I think. Eventually, you have to start somewhere, even you're doing it young, or at some point you have to start traveling. There's always some fear or some bad experience that lead to learning. And it's in general, it applies to life also. Yeah, so
Agree. And when you reflect back, it's much more fun.
yeah, yeah, true, very true.
Agree,
Mm.
agree. Cool. Awesome. So if we come back again to events, talking about events and Web3 in general, do you remember your like how was your first Web3 event like? Because like personally for me, it was I think it was for Zeev. They were organizing some kind of event, and that was my first Web3 event at first, and I literally felt like the dumbest person in the room because of so much jargon that
Mm,
were thrown into me.
mm.
But yeah, I think the folks would love to know about what was your experience like the first time.
Yeah, yeah. So, as I told you, like last year, I went to this Polygon event, and it was hosted here. And then it was like my first Web3 event I went to, like before Web2 events. Then now I call them Web2. I'm used to it. So Web3
Right.
events now. So first Web3 event, and it was like so one of my friends also came in me. So my brother already has experience. I'm already telling you, like, but I'm grateful that he exists. So, so he also told me like, why don't you experience it again? So I was like, I was still learning. I have someone to mentor me. So that's, I think, a plus. So I was like, I don't know anything. What would I even do? Like, I know even like basic, very basic. I know the word crypto. What is it? So I went there and met few people, but I was very overwhelmed. I didn't feel like networking or talking to anyone. So I just went there, roamed around. I didn't have the courage to like, oh, hi, hello, what you do, and everything. So I barely talked to like two to three people, but I think that was my experience. So yeah, one person I remember. So at that time, I was very curious to get into this DevRel and everything. So at that time, there was I knew two DevRels. So like, and apart from that, there was one DevRel from the Graph company, right? So I talked with her, and then she told me how is it and everything. And like it was a very little talk because I was very conscious to talk to someone. Maybe she don't even remember me, but yeah. But it
Right.
was like wow, so huge. But then I was like, no, I don't want to get into this field at all. This is so overwhelming. Many people know many things. I don't know anything. So it was like that. So I was like, no. But then you have to do it. You have to come out of your comfort zone. So I just took the march, and then okay, it was my first event. I was like, "Okay, I'll take a pause." तो मैं तो एक दो महीने उसके बाद फिर इस तरह I seriously started to get like Preet, you have to do it if you're interested in, you have to do it if you're finding key where you want to go, you will have to do it. So it was like this, but first experience very overwhelming, very noob like experience, but yeah.
True,
Yes.
true. Agree, agree. Agree. Like if you have to, let's say, I know this question is for the last later part, but again I'm just coming back right now. Is that, let's say, if somebody is going for their first Web3 event tomorrow, right? um, from your experience by attending lots of events like this, what are some one or two things that you would suggest to them, like hey, take care of this, or don't stress out on this much, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So from being to events in India, like from my local place to going to multiple events in Singapore. So one thing I would say that don't overthink. So just go. Like just go. Don't think like what will happen, because usually you think that this will happen and this will happen, and then when you actually go to the event, it's like quite the opposite. So many people are like you also. Some people also hesitate to talk to you. Not everyone is comfortable. I love those people who are like very, straight up, like, hey, what you do and all those things. But there will be people like you. So you're also learning. So the first thing is that don't judge yourself before going there. How will people perceive you, that you don't know anything? There will be some of the people. It's good that you connect with them. You learn together. Maybe you'll find a friend. Who knows, right? So that's my one of my suggestions, that I would say, don't judge yourself first before going to, and think like what people will think and how will I communicate. You'll learn eventually. So until do your first event, go to your first ever event. Do it anyhow. Like make your mind, do it anyhow. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you don't do any preparation, prepare for just yourself. If you don't want to learn anything technical at first, prepare for yourself that I want to go. They will forget key
Right.
who I interacted. But yeah, only like primary things will be in their mind. So
Yes, yes, true. Agree on that because uh, most of us, and most of me when I was in first year, I was in the same situation, right? Going into events, I was able to do that first part, which is like I would push myself to attend these events, but at the same time, especially when I was just the single person to attend, I had no friends and all. I was like, how that I want to talk to this person who is right in front of me. He's curious, he's interesting guy, but how should I go, right? And but yeah, it's like you do it multiple times and you just find your own way of doing it
Yeah,
into that.
also, as I'm also, I worked in BD and sort of sales thing. So you will also here know if you want to interact with few people at big positions. Of course, they have earned it, right? So if
Yes,
you are very intimidated and you're very curious that I want to talk to this, at least say a hi to this person. So it might be like I don't want to do. You'll hold yourself back. I am also like this. Still, sometimes I feel like, oh, should I go and talk to that person or something like that? But just try, you have nothing to lose, so you just go and like say hi. So I was also ignored and he was like very good, his very good position. So I just said, so he just said hi and he didn't even look at me. I was like, okay, okay, brace yourselves. And then I was like, take care, forget about it and talk to people. That's how you learn. So there will be no's, there will be negatives. So yeah, you have to learn about
agree on that. True. Okay, cool. Um, Now I think we have discussed more of the events aspect, but I would love to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Web3 journey, right?
that.
Um, I have listened, I have heard about. So, this is something really interesting that I find in most of the people that are in Web3 is that everyone has this unique journey, right? Someone was, maybe suggested by, referred by someone, or they first heard about Bitcoin, they lost a lot of money, and they got to know about Web3 in detail, in depth, and
Yeah.
they pursued it later. So, how was that overall thing for you? Like, if you could talk us through that.
Sure. So, like, if I talk to, I got into Web3 properly like this year, and I started working professionally this year. So, around April, May, I already knew good things and I already knew how Web3 work, what is crypto and everything. And then to getting my first internship, so that's how you start, right? So I thought, how will I get it and everything? But you never know. So it's also sometimes a little bit of luck factor with your hard work, and there's like different connections with luck. So you work hard and maybe luck finds you. That's what. So I went to this event. So there was this founder who was US based founder. He was from California. Now he's in India. Though I attended the event and I asked him, if you are hiring or something, I would love to contribute in any way. I would, and I have experience with Twitter and everything. I showed him his my tweets with which I won bounties on it, right? And people loved it. And then the video was already out at the time, and I showed him, so he loved my work. So we started working, and then I worked with him for a few months. And with that, CopperX came into picture, my favorite ever startup. Honestly, I can not stop talking about CopperX. I love the founders, I love the team, and I found my like best mentor at CopperX. Honestly, so I'll tell you. So this was, I think, 1 month back. It was a 1 month gap. So I applied to CopperX. There were two positions I remember: marketing, and one was BD. I applied for marketing that time. So my best friend, so she sent me this, so I just applied. Okay, let's see. So for 1 month I didn't get any response, and I was like, so I want to, really want to. So then after 1 month, the Himalaya, he was the BD lead at CopperX. Then he reached out to me that, do you want to jump on a call or something? I was like, okay. So then he asked me, so I actually did for social media, but then they were hiring for BD intern. So I was supposed to work with him in that team. I had next week I knew how does it all work and everything, how BD works. So I really took like a lot. I put in my all, like for 24 hours, and like 2 3 days before the call, I was like, yeah, I was thinking everything about CopperX and everything. I learned everything and see how did it work and who is like who are the team members, who is the founder, and I looked through and everything, and I really loved it. So talked about it, and naturally I talked like what I learned, my like original experience, and I was very honest about what I know and about what I don't know, what I learned with this. and everything. So the next day, I think the next day or the day after that, so I was like really want to work with CopperX. So then he messaged me that you're in. So it was like a notification, you're in. I was like, okay. That's really, I was so happy. Like getting a first internship that is your in like one of your favorite startups. That's like truly the best. So I was like, damn. So initially I was like being so if I'm working well or not. So then he hired me like fully. So working with CopperX now fully. So I think that's my Web3 journey till now. Right now I'm also working. I think it's around 7 months. I started with them in May. So I think it's around 7-8 months. So loving it here. Love the people, honestly. A very huge shout out to CopperX. Many opportunity they have given me many opportunities and everything. And Himalaya is my true mentor. Like for everything besides like my professional, my not so professional things. I go to him for anything. He mentors me very well. He teach me sales. I think you need to learn sales in your life if you're building a product or something, right? And it is not even like not even only about it is helping me in Web3. It is also helping it my the startup, the clothing brand I'm part of, right? Which is I'm exploring both the paths basically. So yeah, that's my Web3 journey. That too. Tell me.
That's for most people, it they would feel like it's short, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's really fun. It's really unique, and more of this side where you are trying your best to get that thing instead of
Yeah.
just finding and looking out for whether you'll get that thing or not, like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
like so they are all very old and very so not very old, that's the wrong word. So
and so,
very
so
yeah, they'll kill me after hearing this. There is very sorry. But yeah, they're like so they also, term me Gen Z and
Gen-
so they also talk to me like in Gen Z ways. So they ask me cool terms like what are some cool Gen Z words that we can use and so use your Gen Z mind to market it and everything. It's very fun. So they really try to make me feel that I'm very much included, even though I'm like still starting out and everything. So I'm very welcome. So I used to, you have like imposter syndrome and things like that, but all of them, whoever I talked to, them, they were like, just try. Like there's nothing to lose. So the founder Tarun, he had a call with me and he was like, "Ki, try, just try whatever you feel like. I know you're doing best at what you're doing. So what are your interests that you are doing, like loving to do?" So I told him, then he said, you can explore these field with the help of CopperX also. So I'm genuinely loving it. So it's the point that you start to work it as it's your own product, it's your own thing, that you're selling your own thing. The CopperX is your own thing. It's that when you connect with the founder, the startup, and everything, it has to be there if you're working in a startup. So in a startup, there are no like defined hours. You maybe have to work a lot more, or maybe not that much on some days, but it's very uncertain. It's like you are also as obsessed with the thing as the founders are. So that's how you work in startup. So I'm very grateful that I started to like start my journey with startups. And I honestly love to work in startups. So yeah.
I zooming out a bit. I was going through your overall Twitter posts and all, and I found that you started off, as you mentioned, you started off with trying to code and exploring more of what are the things that you like in coding and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And right now you're working as a BD, right? So it's like a non-tech, from tech to non-tech, right?
Yeah.
So how has this transition been for you? And if you can, share one or two points about why specifically you thought of transitioning, and why, and what are some things that you found that, hey, transitioning from tech to non-tech is also really cool.
Yeah. So the thing is, I started like when I completed my 12th grade. So I was like, I already knew a lot of things about open source and all this coding. And there, when I started to think about that, because I like long term, I really want to do traveling or live a nomad life or something like that. So I aspired to do that. But I was like, it is possible so much with tech. Plus, I was very interested how it evolves every day. So it was like I started to learn code. So basically, I started with Java or something, and then I switched to this Swift UI, iOS development. Did that like made one two small games, and I was like a bit exhausted to do all these things. And then college came and everything. But then I was like continuously learning that I would not stop in any part, even though if I'm reading books, if I'm coding, or if I'm like learning about development. So I was like very keen that I learn coding, maybe get experience and move to the develop part. So from the starting, I had this mind, and this my mind, that I want to connect with people. I want to maybe guide them. So I think tech also provides. So I wanted this integration of maybe business or interacting with people and tech. So I wanted this sort of, like, the integration or culmination, I would say. So this is how it started, and I explored many things. I got to know there are like a lot of more things like product management. I also explored data science for a while. So like for 2 3 months I was exploring. I did some courses in Coursera, like on data analytics by Google. There's a very famous course. So I've been there, and then I was like exploring like 2 3 months for some of the fields, and like this is how it went. And I like now also I want to learn coding. So I
Yeah.
haven't learned coding like full. I'm not an expert, but I would love to like start again. So I've been thinking in 2025 also start to learn Bible, because I think it's a skill that maybe people need to learn, because the thing is that you want to build a website of your own, and it's pretty easy. And I think you need to learn, not like exactly easy, but I don't want to pay someone, especially when I am in this field, that I'm paying someone to make a website for me, even for a brand or something. So I would say ki basic coding, or like to know ki how it all works. So yeah, so then after that, talking about transitioning, so I already knew that I wanted to be somewhere connected with people. Then I was like exploring, and then Twitter. So on Twitter, I started to posting what the things I used to learn. So I'll tell you one more interesting story about that. So there is this Pauline. She works with Versal right now. She was before with Gitpod when I knew her, and then I spammed her on Instagram. And she was a Devrel nomad, and like when you feel so connected, that this is exactly what I want to do.
Right.
So I was like, oh my god, like I was going through her blogs like one by one. So she used to post like every month. Also, I was like very much still. It feels so nostalgic whenever like I go back to I was there. So I had like 50 followers on Twitter. So that I think that was like the first thing when I started into tech, now Web3. So I had 50 followers, and Pauline have now something good following. So it sounds materialistic, but she had around 11K followers something. Yeah,
Mm,
right.
good,
So
great.
I tweeted about her, and she loved me. So she tweeted back, replied back that would love to, going through with this with your journey. And she followed him back. Oh my god, like 50 followers and someone this big who no even don't know me. So that was like a big push. That this is amazing. So recently I also messaged her a long paragraph that this is me now. Like I'm working. I am like partially like going through halfway, not even halfway through my remote life journey or something. You inspired me at that time with that like follow back, and now right now I have like 1.2K followers, which is also not that big, but yeah, I've been to Singapore, and yeah, and I'm working with this. So that was like a big push. So I was quite like I had this in mind. Yeah, again coming back to working with people and interacting with people. Now I'm also exploring. There's also a role called ecosystem manager, and I also want to explore that part. Maybe if I get a chance sometime. So then it was like okay, tweeting, and then eventually I got. So I had this mind. I think universe followed through. I also believe in all these things with tech also. So I think I got those opportunities only where I was like maybe connect and grow the startup or help spread a word about startup in any way. So that was how. So I still want to learn how to code honestly. So I'll do that also. Yeah.
True. Yeah. Like I could connect with you on this sense, more of because I'm also the same guy, right? Doing BTech in computer science, but transitioning into non-tech. Just because it's really fun, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I've thought about this a lot. I've tried to think about this a lot actually. And it just, I ended up just thinking and telling myself, keep bro, tech is also good. You should also understand, you should also learn tech.
Yeah.
That's not the thing. But just if you have more time, when you have more time, just focus on what you're more curious and interested about.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much about it. And as you mentioned that tech is something, especially when you're in Web3 and want to live a nomad life and travel and stuff like that. I think understanding technology, trying to code and stuff like that, it really helps a lot. It really helps.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So in tech, I think it's very flexible. If you're interested even in one single field, and you genuinely want to contribute, and you're very consistent with one thing, so tech is going to support you with it. So it has some downsides, but I think more like there are more of better things in tech which will help you. So in any field, even if you are in tech but you want to do design, you want to become a UI UX designer, so you put in the effort for 1 year, 2 year, or how long, if you love it, so I think you'll get the opportunities in tech by yourself. If you are also building with the community, or openly like contributing and telling people that what I'm doing, or also helping to learn people, so learn to help them learn, right? So
Yep.
I think that's also a major factor, that if you're also contributing the community, it will come back to you someday or the other. You just have to put work. So maybe you're trying like one time, second, don't just do it for the sake of it, like okay, community, and then I have to show that I'm learning this. Not do like for the sake of, you're genuinely doing it, so it'll
Yeah.
come back to you one day. That's for sure in tech, that I've seen like in past 2-3 years. I've been like in tech space for 2-3 years now, right? So I have learned like in any field you want to go, AIML, data science, this product management, DevRel, now in Web3, BD, anything you want to do, there are a lot of opportunities if you have the potential and if you're willing to work with that field. And you're going to like, even if you talk about like materialistic, you're also going to earn a good amount of money there. So like internet is this one thing I believe that you can earn like a lot of money sitting this at this place and working with a big startup based out of like US, Europe. I think you just have to put in the work in the field you love, specifically in tech. If you like an integration, like I like tech plus people, and if you like tech plus design, you have to just put in the work. That's, and also like help people learn what you are learning. That's
Right.
yeah.
Agree. Agree. Uh, okay. Also, by the way, like, did you have this imposter syndrome among your friends? Because you are going into non-tech, and most of your friends are doing tech, and they're, building websites and going front and back end and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, did it ever like made you feel that, bro, what am I doing? I need to think back. Am I doing the right thing? Something like that?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, of course. So even like sometimes it gets very frequent also. Ki maybe like I started it at as like with tech, what am I doing? Like why I'm doing BD. It also some sort of sales or something.
Yeah.
Like okay, I love to talk to people, but what am I doing? Like so you get this thing. But then you also think like, wow, what you're doing, you're just 20 and you also got to travel, and so that's like, so that it overpowers. So even when I got with CopperX, I was like, do I deserve this? Like these kind of thoughts also get, and also you think that if I'm going in the right direction or something. But I have like, I want to go with the flow sometimes, but that too putting equally with my like hard work. I just don't want to like flow, but I want to flow with it by putting in my own hard work. So I get in the right direction. I get in the right flow of it. So that's what I think. Yeah.
Agree, agree. Right. I think yeah, that it's better to just think rationally and sometimes, as you mentioned, overpower with the good, positive things that has happened
Yeah.
in non-tech. Right.
Yeah, because I also suggest that everyone's journey is unique. Like people often talk about it, that everyone's journey is unique, but actually, when implying it to your like real life, you often tend to compare yourself in real life.
Right.
You talk like, okay, I would not compare myself something, but at some time you will compare yourself, and then you have to get hold of yourself that no, like you are doing good, and everyone's journey is unique. You have to keep reminding yourself if you're getting these things like like me, I also get these things, but I remind myself that my journey is unique and I'm contributing in my own ways, and I'm getting that back in those ways.
All right. All right. Right. Truly, truly. So, yeah, so in between, we were talking about how you connected with folks, right, on Twitter, and you just like DM'd your thoughts out, and which later on eventually turned out to be a good connection of yours. And so, relating to this thread, I read one of your you had written this thread after completing your first year, I guess, And in one of that, you mentioned that how it's important to have a good surrounding of like-minded people and choosing your surroundings specifically. So, if you can talk about that with respect to how that has shaped you overall, because I think since then you have been focusing much more on what type of people you're connecting with and what type of people you're hanging out with. So, yeah, just would love to know about that.
Yeah, also like zooming out on this, also in general, also in life. So like with professionally also, but in general, I think so. There's my best friend. She lives in Australia right now. So she has been. So she already had a startup before. So I met her during the time. So after I graduated, I took a gap year. I never gave JE or something, and I never been. I knew that I don't want to be it, and I was like very much of it risking and going to like okay a good decent college. So I was like, so in the gap year I was very keen towards it. Was also something around COVID time, so I was also very keen that I want to go to US and do my bachelor's there. And but there was some issue and COVID. But I found a similar liberal arts and sciences degree here. It's Ahmedabad University, so I am going there. So but at that time, at so I met most of like my very nicest, very like good friends who are actually happy with what I am doing, and we are genuinely there for each other in everything. So she also like this is also for CopperX. So she sent me this post. So she's in Australia, so she sent me this post. Please, like, do try this. And one of my friends in Canada, you know Satyam by any chance?
No,
He win like a lot of hackathons. He is all over the place.
that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. So he also, I think, tagged me in this, and a few people out. I didn't ask them to tag me or something. They tagged me in the CopperX post. But then I'm telling you again, coming back, that you need to be with those people that helps you. So she was already into that part, and she had a startup before. So she was in those sense professionally, I think, more experienced than me when I was exploring. And then I was like, got to learn a lot from her. And we had like this 2 a.m. chat. It was my first ever Twitter post, I guess. So we had this 2 a.m. chat. We want to do this, we want to do this, and everything. But then how you connect, I think you connect. So we connected in a university group actually. So now we are like, I think it's 3 years, and we are like really good friends. We talk like very frequently, like very really good friends, right? So this is how I found like my first ever like really good friend. And then so I posted it in Twitter because in college I thought like maybe this is the type of curriculum, and maybe I'll find my type of people. But first year I was totally distracted by the surroundings. Okay, so it was not like very on extremes, going partying and everything. So Gujarat is a tri-state plus. Okay, that's a different topic. But yeah, so it was like I was very much influenced by. So there's also some sort of toxicity that also brings you down, right? So I would also like to talk about this like after completing this. So I was like, there was a group of a few people. We were there, and I wasn't learning anything, and was like, I think I was degrading, and I was also draining myself so much to be in that place where I'm not learning anything, where I'm not being talked. So I used to talk with them that what do you want to do. So they had, because when you are so aspirational, you want to ask people that what they do and what they want to maybe do. They had nothing to say. They was like, "Ki, what are you talking about? Why are you talking all these things?" So at that immediate moment, I was like, I got that click. No, breathe. You are getting distracted again. I was in the gap year. I was very much focused that I want to get this. I want to get the remote standing, and then I was like, no, breathe. And then after 1 year, I wasted so much of time. I would say, but I was still learning bit by bit. But then I joined hands that I don't want to like be with people who will drain me or something, who will pull me down or something like that. But then I also learned this. But then again next year, the first year ended, and then the summer vacation happened when I went to JSConf. There I when I left that place, so like positive things started coming towards me. So I think that also plays a big role. So not a philosopher of something, but I just want to tell you that if you are finding it letting it hard to let go of one of your connection or something, I think it's better for your future. I'm like very, very, very much grateful that I came out of that rat in what I was in like first year, and I'm a much better place. I'm doing so many things right now. I think that really matters a lot. Even I so now all of my friends circle. So we are each other. So we plan to meet each year. We live in different places. In India, also my friends are different places in the world. So we make sure we are like very much connected. It's very genuine, and we mentor each other. We guide each other, and you also get motivated. So the second thing I would say to being with like-minded people is that they motivate you always. And
Yes.
I would say that make like friends that are maybe a little bit older than you, that have already maybe achieved a certain part that you want to achieve. So look out for people, find mentor in those people for you. So I think that is one more thing. And but yeah, I think it also affects your energy, that you're like your overall surroundings, how you because there's also like very general view that if you see that people who are like partying, so they're like all into all these things. I don't like to consider all these things bad or good. I don't categorize them. It's a life and everything. It's my life. And so it's like, so I'm doing things, so we are building. So for example, you and me, right? So we connected, we are like-minded. You wanted to learn about me, and I wanted to be here and talk to people, talk to you. So we connected. So I think that's the energy that you pull in with yourself, and you need to choose who you are with very wisely. And that's one.
It's so underrated, I would say, in that underrated advice that anyone would get,
Yeah,
that just connect with people who are older than you. I mean, when I look back on myself also, and currently even, I have tons of people who are uh, much more bigger than my age and are doing something which I really am interested about.
yeah,
And that actually, in somewhat, also helps you, move towards your own goal, even if that motivation dries off, right?
yeah.
That's really interesting.
True, because at one point, even saying to a point, so even at one point you even lose motivation, but you have your friends, you see them what they're doing very positive, like very nice, they're working very nicely.
Right.
And so I also so think that maybe you get to stop. You say that I don't want to, like you sometimes give up. That's very natural part of you, right? So you give up, and then you see, like I see, I'm like genuinely very much motivated about my people, with my people who are doing good things. So like they're also moving, even if they're moving slow. So yesterday I had talked with one of my friends, Sumit, who is also building like Right Fit.
Yes.
So he mentioned that the progress is slow with Right Fit, but it's very beautiful. I think that's also it's with life. You don't need to really rush. I know you are in 20s and you want to build big things. You're thinking like maybe this one I want to get, but you need to give yourself time, your journey a little bit time. You just need to trust in yourself, put in your hard work, and you'll definitely get back what you put in. That's what I think.
Agree. And yeah, that's being said, that a lot of people are just blown away by people on YouTube saying that you should get become a millionaire in your
Yeah,
20.
they're earning money by doing all these things. They're in their 25, 27. They're earning money by telling 20s people. I think it's also maybe they it gives you push, but then it motivates you at some point in your 20s.
Yeah.
But it also demotivates. Maybe he or she is saying that do this in 20s. It's also a good thing that you get motivated. You get that start. Okay, I need to start working. You get into that mindset by watching these kind of content or something. You
Mhm.
get into I also used to watch this kind of content. I think everyone who is
Mhm.
very much into that, they want to be big very soon or late. So they start with it. I think it's also a one more like driving force to kickstart your journey. But also don't take too much of advice from the content if it's not the like best, or everyone is listening to and everyone's trying to get influenced by that. So that's what I mean.
True. I think it's like a good thing to get started,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not that sustainable to.
Then read books. I would say read books definitely. And I also have like these two books I show: the Almanac by Namal Ravi Khan and this thing like a monk. Like very like I'm reading this as I parallelly. Then I also read one more book. Then like just read. Start when you start, but build in with good habits. Like start reading. And I'm not also like I also like very strictly. I'm not very consistent with like reading. I'm very honest, but I do read. Yes, it really helps you build your mind.
True. Agree. Awesome. I think we have delved too deep into the personal aspect of
Yeah,
work
yeah.
and stuff.
True.
But okay, if I have to again double click and zoom out again on the same thing, we are talking about your Singapore journey, right? Token 2049, and that as an overall experience. So if you could take us through that, I think the viewers might be interested in this a lot. That how did that happen, and how was it like? I think was it your like first international trip or
Yeah, like my first work international trip,
oh,
but I've been
wait,
to like
so
Bangkok before
yeah,
I was a little young. Yeah.
so how was that, and how was how did you feel actually in terms of ki, in true sense ki, okay, this is it is going, it is real and
Yeah,
things.
true. So like when I joined CopperX, so you are a business developer, you need to interact with people. So when I joined CopperX, I knew like this happens for like many business developers go there. So it happens twice a year, once in like Dubai and then one in Singapore. So Himalaya went. So my team is like my founders are in Dubai and few are in Gujarat, including me. So they went to Dubai. They had a team meetup. I wasn't there at that time when team meetup was there first time this year.
Right,
So then I was like, maybe I'll perform so well. Maybe they'll send me to Singapore, or maybe the second time. I don't know. Maybe I was very much, I was delusional at that point. I joined the company, I was very immediately excited. Maybe like it's coming in like August, and I was like, sorry, September, and then maybe I'll get a chance. Maybe so. Himalaya gave me target to close maybe these many business, and you have to learn. I was learning so much. So he was for sure going because of course he's PD lead, right? And I was still an intern, right? So I was like, then I work. I give like so much of my hard work because I really wanted to go to Singapore. I wanted to meet new people. I wanted to have that kickstart. And I am well, like very grateful for CopperX to give me this opportunity. Then fast forward, then I worked and I closed businesses and networked. And I also posted a thread about CopperX, which went pretty good. It got 11, 12,000 views,
yes,
I guess.
right,
So many people engaged and few business actually reach out to me. So actually I love doing everything at CopperX, not only growth and BD, marketing also. Everywhere I go on Twitter, if I find everything about anything off ramping crypto to fiat or accepting payments in crypto, I put like okay CopperX in a very like good way, and like okay like something quirky or maybe funny I try to put like that or something. And then so I think it was my genuine intention with the startup, with the place I'm working in. So then after like some time, so it was August, oh yeah, July and August. So I asked Dalpat, so it's the co-founder Dalpat Bhai. So I asked him, maybe can we get on a call? I want to discuss a few things or something. So there were two, three things, and then I just asked him, like maybe if I can get a chance or to explore. I would love to talk to people. And Himalaya was going. So Himalaya thought maybe I didn't have chance this time or something. I was also a little bit okay, but then Dalpat said, "Okay, tell me." So it was like I was very very much happy because someone is trusting in you. So
yeah,
actually that's so amazing. Actually, someone trusting into you, and you're like very young and like that. So he agreed, and then eventually it happened. So I also put in a lot of work during all those months, and I still put a lot of work. Like I'm genuinely very much into corporate. So after that, so he, okay, then we like went to sing. Also, it was my first international solo trip. I never went. So I was also, as I told you, scared of travel. I want to travel solo, but I'm very scared to travel solo.
same
So
thing.
I was chat GPTing like everything, how to like navigate international airports. So I had connecting flight at Delhi. So
Okay,
I was like, oh my god, how to navigate all that? I was chat GPTing, okay, this, and after this. And then eventually I was so proud of myself when I landed there. Oh my god, Preet, you did it. And then Himalaya joined me there, and then we went and like met amazing people there. So this was my journey going to Singapore. And if you want to know, like in Singapore, what I did, so there were a lot of USBD is like you're like continuously selling, right?
mm,
Marketing and telling people, and it's not like selling is not something that you want to do. Sell key, please buy this, please use our product or something. You
mm,
don't have to be
right,
that. You need to be very much considerate about what people have been using, and so what are their needs, and would they like to switch to this thing, and how then comes like how you will tell them about, generally have a conversation with them, like people like we are having, generally have a conversation with them. Don't go like selling them straight up things. And that's how you build up connection, even if they, because first you have built up connection, even if they don't want to use it or something, but still they'll be like, you have the connection maybe for long term, so maybe in future they might need it. So it's all about building good connections. Also, network is your net worth. That's also very but yeah, so you have to be genuinely that. But overall, I attended a lot of events. Then again, solo traveler, I lost in the mall. I walked in the mall and around the mall 5 kilometers to find to get that in an event. And it was, I really wanted to go to the event. It was Shiva event, and then when I reached, it ended. I walked for like 5 kilometers, and Himalaya really laughed at me. I was
Nice.
like, and then I was, oh my god, that was like, okay, I'm giving, I'm not going to any event now. But that's not it works. So
Yeah.
I was like, thoda sha, then I got some coffee or something and then chill down at that place. And then now I am also like Shiba scholar, that you might
Yes.
already
Yes.
so like, so this was how it worked. Then also, of course, I went to events and talked to people. It was also then intimidating that you are in international setting, and there are a lot of people that you have to talk. There are a lot of
Mm,
founders,
right.
big people, VCs, everyone. So it was very hard sometimes because you're young also. Now
Mm,
there are like people in 25, 26. There are very, I didn't find anyone who was like, there are like 2, 3 max people I knew who was in their 20, 19, 20 interacting with people. Most of them were like 24, 25 or late 20s, 30s, 40s, like these. So it's very intimidating that they are very experienced. How will you talk to them? So that's what one thing I learned. I just straight up said them, hey, how you doing? And I was like, I also got rejected many times. Like, okay, they will start a conversation, but they will maybe not engage. I think sparks. And there were people who, like, I made friends with. I went to brunch with them, and she was like a very like with a big play like company, and she was a very at good position based out of US. And I got to like talk to so much people, so you'll have good and bad experiences both, I would
mm,
say. Yeah.
right. Right. I had lots of questions coming up while you were speaking, but so like how? So I think when you are at this stage where you are international, and you're talking about, you are there to talk about your company and probably gets more sales in as your role. I think being what introvert is out of the window at that time, or how does it work?
So I consider myself in between. So I don't want to take that cringe term every word out of that. It's very cringe. So I'm in between, but I now I can like talk to people. Now I've become like more open. I was like pretty shy, not shy. I can talk to people, but intimidated, of course, again by people older than me who are more experienced. If I'm saying anything wrong, or if they think I'm like dumb or something, I just started out or like this. So yeah, I
Right,
think yeah.
agree. I think it's just how it goes. You have to just accept it. But yeah, coming back, if you could like quickly, I'm sure it's difficult to put down in as quickly, but um, if you could, let's say the person listening to us right now is a college student, probably second, third year, and is thinking to, okay, I understood Web3, I understood that I need to attend events, I understood that so much things happens in Web3, but how should I get started with the first internship or first job, right? If
Mhm.
you could break down few pointers for that, so that they could, maybe that would be definitely helpful for them. That
Mhm.
would.
True, true. So like as I myself started without any experience in Web3, starting from an internship. So I think Twitter is a big space. I think it's very much overheard that Twitter is one thing, even for Web2 also, and Web3, of course. I think Web3 is built on Twitter, right? And then you'll have to actually, you need to be on Twitter. I think if you want to be
Yes.
in Web3, if you want to especially start and you haven't
Right.
done anything. So also in the Superteam Earn Bounty, that's how I started. That's how I earned my 25 USDC. So you start with this things. You maybe start to write what you have learned So you don't completely learn Web3 in a few months or few days. You need to continuously learning. There are so many new trends, new terms, new things that coming out, very technical things sometimes. So you need to continuously evolve your mind with that. So you do not, so in Web3, if you're in Web3, you don't have to stop learning. Take that word of your
Mm.
dictionary that you'll not learn or something. So the first step is that you do with like start with Twitter and like teach people what you learn and connect people, follow good people on Twitter, and then do. So you say ki I have only 0 followers on Twitter, so how
Yes.
do it?
Yes.
So what happens is that you go to events also, so you connect to people and then you eventually start with your getting your first 50 followers. Then you post about those events. This is where I went and this is what I learned here. What was the event about? This is how you start. And then for me, as I reached out to founder of GetUp directly, that maybe if I can get a chance. So the max is that they can say you know you'll be rejected, but don't stop trying. Cold
Mm.
asking, cold emailing, or something like that. But I think in Web3, you more going up to people and maybe asking sometimes that eventually, if it's like you're also new and the startup is also very new. So, and if you have an experience in some other field, but you want to say work in social media and marketing, right? So I have some experience, but that is not in Web3 or something. So you will be like, you can say because the startup is new, right? So you can say that maybe I can provide my experience, my learning, and these all things. Then you can start and like ask people, and then opportunities come to you. I think.
Agree, agree. I think the first point that you mentioned, which was like get into Twitter, that's so important. I think
Yeah.
not because Web3 is equals to Twitter, but it's it's
Yeah.
it's more like
Starting point. Everything has a starting
yeah,
point. Twitter is starting point for Web3.
true, true, true. It's like this hub where you can connect with more people and learn about that. I'm sure folks who are listening to us got some takeaways from that. Okay, cool. Uh, We kind of are in the end of this entire episode.
Yeah.
So, like, Preet, what are you working on right now? What is something, what else apart from CopperX that you're doing? I think people would love to know, and I'm curious about that.
Yeah. So I am in Ahmedabad, and so as with tech, I also want to explore other businesses side, how the other businesses, other real like in consumer, say consumer based food business or something. So Ahmedabad is like I think there are many big rich people in India are from Gujarat, and if you are in Ahmedabad, you have to I think learn the business side of it. And also it is like one of my best friend's brand. So I am currently working with a clothing brand. So it is a startup only. So we are very much close. So he's my best friend. So we are both working. And there's one more. So it is also a funded startup, so getting like starting out in a clothing brand. So and it is also getting some funding. I think that's a plus point. So there's a contrast that I learned in tech in Web3 and this business. It's about people. It's Pratwear, and we are building a timeless clothing brand. So it's basically we are also collaborating with artists. So I'll tell you a recent happening with the brand also. That is not like we just take it as a grain of salt thing, but I think it's also a part of learning. So I get to learn with both the worlds, right? In the tech
Yeah.
also, non-tech also. So in tech, I think there are layoffs and everything, and people know like how layoffs work. But in I think this world, and especially when I am here, and
Mm,
young people want to, so young people in tech I think are more smart than
mm,
young people doing. So I'm not trying to generalize anything. But then we started the startup, and there's one investor who's a co-founder, and then one founder, Pratyush, right? When you're in like this clothing or startup kind of brand, or you're doing out of non-tech thing, so don't like do it with your like friends who you think, or maybe the people you know and just want to work. So like don't work until you know that they're actually going to work. You have to make difficult decisions. So I'm learning like both the worlds, and it's pretty awesome. But like you have to take some criticism also in these kind of clothing brands also. But we are like not very much affected, as I also told you that I have very good friends and I talk to them who's already building or actually doing something. So they said me don't do anything about be mature about it as you are.
mm,
And
mm.
it's very like sometimes hard to keep it calm. and
Hmm.
everything. But both the worlds, I think there is a big difference. But I'm loving to learn both of these things actually. But yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's so cool, honestly. Like, most of the Web3 folks, what I've experienced is that they're always in Web3, going events or hosting events or doing this, doing that.
Yeah.
But it's so cool, right? That you are experiencing and exploring both side of the world, um, especially that the other side, which is the clothing brand, right?
Events like Web3 mein, so it's like events. So you have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
But in clothing brand, so if you are engaged so much in events, you won't be
Mm,
able to focus, especially starting. So you won't be actually be able to focus how to build it nationally. So it's
yes.
very different. So it's like, so we took a hold back, that let's take a pause and see, take an overview. So
Mm,
we have realized that actually past 6 months with the wrong hiring, we have lost resources, right? It's very hurtful when you are like
yeah,
starting
yeah,
and
right.
it happens. Differentiating factor is actually very difficult to get in
True.
clothing brand. So as I told you, we developed this mechanism, and then there were desi polos, a combination of the cotton, cotton ekdam pura, and then polos, general polos that
Yeah,
come.
yeah,
So putting that in together. Now we are doing like winter hoodies collection. So we
right.
were very rigid that we want to do very minimal, and we want to get that uniqueness out of anywhere, like kahin se to la nahi padegi. But we are like now out of that rigid mind. We will be experimenting because experimenting also comes with a cost, because
Yes.
इसमें investment काफी ज्यादा लगती है, and you
Mm,
are so young. So हम लोग जो build कर रहे, we are like 20 and we are in the same college. So I think that's one thing.
yes, I think it was awesome talking to you. Okay, this is one last question that I ask to each and every guest that comes here, which is it's kind of a cringe question, but I still love this question. It's that when you have to look back, right? These 3 4 years, um, and when you if you think that, okay, let's say there is Preet right now in her first year, right after out of school, she's in first year. What are some do's or what are some don'ts you would like to suggest her, so that maybe folks who are listening, they might get benefit from that as well?
Mhm. So like do's, I would like to talk about do's first. That, like, if I was and I had all this knowledge, or if I had this thing, so I would really recommend her that to start early, or maybe look at just hath palm, or just keep exploring. Even
Yes.
if you have to, watch a lot of YouTube, or maybe read blogs or articles. Because when I used to watch a lot of YouTube, I found out about remote jobs, remote things, right? How all these tech work. So keep exploring. So if you don't know how do I do this, go on internet. Like, I think this is the very basic and like very, handful resource you have, that you can search anything. So I think that's one thing. You explore, you meet people. So
Right.
start meeting people early in your life. And now that we have Twitter, start with Twitter early. I think that's also these three do's, I would say. And then don't is, of course, don't engage yourself with people who drain you or you pull you down. Don't do that. And I would say focus on yourself and build some good habits. It's very much, I'm talking like about something,
Yeah.
but I think that really matters in long term, and many people might relate to me already.
Mm,
So
yes.
that's like do's and don'ts. Like don't, like, also don't be like too fast that I have to achieve this like now. I did that too many times, that I want to do this very fast, I want to achieve this very fast. In that thing, I also procrastinated a lot, and I also slugged that, okay. And I was too much into thinking, and then you explore, but don't think too much. You start to act, just act on things. I think these few things I would say.
Right, right. I think even though all of them sound very cliche, very genuine advice,
So
but
I also feel like very true. Yeah, but I think these are very true.
actually true. Yes, yes. Understood. Okay, I think we are finally at the end of the episode. And if I had to boil down everything, it was more of this roller coaster ride of questions, curious questions, and knowing about your journey overall. I don't know why I keep telling about journey, but yeah, a great journey. And especially it was great connecting to you as a 20-year-old, as a like 20s person, because it's difficult to have that same kind of mindset and same kind of I would say the vibe, especially in a podcast. So it was awesome actually. And yeah, just thank you so much, Preet, for joining in and being there. And oh, by the way, folks who are still there, who are still listening to us till now, it's currently almost 11:45, and we're recording. And so I'm super thankful that you gave so much of time, your time, into this. And yeah, just really hopeful that we'll do this again in future sometimes.
Yeah, of course, when you'll get big.
We both.
I'm like very, very nice meeting you and very nice telling about my journey. Thank you for giving this platform to me. Yeah, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Chalo.